What do you think you are doing, Claire? Are you leaving us?
I can't do this anymore. Am leaving. I deserve more, Michael. Bye.
The rain tapped softly against the windows of the modest family home in Portland, Oregon. Claire stood in the living room, her suitcase packed, her mind racing. Her husband, Michael, sat at the edge of the couch, his hands clasped tightly as though he could physically hold their lives together by sheer will. At his side were their children, 10-year-old Ethan, tall for his age but still with the softness of childhood, and 7-year-old Sophie, who clutched her stuffed rabbit like it was a lifeline. "Claire," Michael whispered, his voice cracking. "Don't do this. Whatever you think you're chasing, it's not worth more than this family." But Claire's eyes darted away. For months, she had been consumed by Ryan, a man she'd met at a marketing conference in San Francisco. He was everything Michael wasn't: spontaneous, wealthy, adventurous. Ryan had whispered promises of travel, luxury, and excitement, convincing Claire she was wasting her best years tied down with children and bills. "I'm sorry, Michael," she said, her voice cold, though her hands trembled. "I feel trapped here. I deserve a better life." "Better than your children?" Michael shot back, his voice rising. Ethan flinched. Sophie began to cry. Claire bit her lip, ignoring the ache in her chest. She turned, dragging her suitcase to the door, leaving behind 2 crying children and a man who had sacrificed everything to keep their family afloat. Before we continue, kindly share with us. Where are you watching from? We would like to know. Please like and share this video to anyone you think it will bless and encourage. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you have not done so yet. The weeks that followed were devastating. Ethan stopped asking when Mom was coming home. Sophie wet the bed at night, whispering her mother's name in her sleep. Michael, though shattered, refused to let their pain drown them. He doubled his efforts, working long hours at his accounting firm by day, cooking meals by night, and helping with homework on the weekends. He taught Ethan how to mow the lawn, helped Sophie bake cookies for her class, and attended every school event. Neighbors often offered help, but Michael wanted his kids to know they could rely on him. Meanwhile, Claire was living a fantasy with Ryan. Expensive restaurants. Trips to Miami. Designer clothes she never thought she'd own. She posted photos online, wine glasses, sunsets, her manicured hand resting on Ryan's. She convinced herself she had chosen correctly. But the guilt lingered, like an unwelcome shadow. Every birthday she missed, every holiday she ignored, chipped away at her heart. Still, Claire pushed forward. She told herself Michael and the kids would be fine. She told herself she deserved happiness. But the foundation of her new life was already starting to crack. 3 years passed. Ethan was now 13, taller, with the beginnings of a young man's confidence. Sophie, 10, had grown into a bright, joyful girl who loved music and was already taking piano lessons. Michael never remarried, though women showed interest. His heart was dedicated to raising his children. He became known at their school as the super dad, the one who showed up to every recital, every soccer game, every science fair. Teachers admired him, other parents respected him, and the children adored him. Under his guidance, Ethan discovered a gift for soccer, earning a spot on a competitive team. Sophie thrived in music, playing her first solo at the winter concert while Michael recorded proudly from the front row. These were the milestones every parent dreams of, and Claire wasn't there. Meanwhile, Claire's life had lost its sheen. Ryan, once charming, revealed a darker side. He belittled her for not making enough money, scoffed whenever she brought up her kids, and made it clear he didn't want baggage in his life. Arguments became frequent. When Claire discovered texts from other women, Ryan brushed her off with a cruel laugh. You knew what this was, he sneered. The glamorous apartment grew cold and hostile. Nights that once felt like adventure now felt empty and suffocating. Then came the final blow. Ryan left her for a younger woman, moving on without hesitation. Suddenly, Claire was alone in a one-bedroom apartment, with credit card debt from trying to keep up with Ryan's lifestyle. She had lost her family, her stability, and now even the illusion of love. Desperate, she reached out to old friends, but most had drifted away. She tried calling her parents, only to be met with disappointment and silence. But the deepest pain came whenever she saw pictures of her children online, posted by mutual acquaintances. Ethan with a soccer trophy in hand, grinning ear to ear. Sophie at a piano, her fingers poised with elegance. And always, Michael standing beside them, proud and present. Claire would sit alone at night, scrolling through those photos, sobbing quietly. She had given up the very moments she now longed for most. By the time 4 years had passed, Claire could no longer stand the emptiness. She drove to the house she once called home, clutching flowers in her hand. Her palms were sweaty, her chest tight. When the door opened, Michael stood there, his face older but stronger. He looked at her without a word. Behind him stood Ethan, now 14, his arms crossed, and Sophie, 11, holding back with a wary expression. "Hi," Claire said softly. I wanted to see you. To see them." The silence was crushing. Ethan's eyes burned with a mix of anger and hurt. Sophie clutched Michael's sleeve like she was afraid her mother might take him away. "I know I don't deserve it," Claire whispered, tears streaming down her face. "But I want to be part of their lives again. I want to make it right." Michael's voice was steady but cold. "That's not up to me. It's up to them." Ethan shook his head. "You weren't there, Mom. Dad was. When I scored my first goal, when I got hurt at practice, when Sophie had her concert, you weren't there. He was." Sophie's voice was softer but more cutting. "You left us, Mommy. You chose someone else." Claire fell to her knees on the porch, sobbing. "I was wrong. I was so wrong. Please, please give me another chance." But the children didn't move. Michael placed a gentle hand on their shoulders, guiding them back inside. He looked at Claire one last time and said, "Love isn't proven by words, Claire. It's proven by showing up. And you didn't." The door closed softly, leaving Claire in the cold night air, clutching flowers that no one wanted. Inside, Michael turned toward his children. Sophie was crying softly, Ethan's jaw still clenched. Michael knelt down, pulling them both into his arms. "You don't have to be afraid," he whispered. "We've made it this far together, and we'll keep going, together." Ethan looked up at him, eyes glistening. "Dad, you've done everything. You never gave up on us." Michael kissed his son's forehead, then brushed Sophie's hair back. "That's what family does. We hold on to each other." That night, as Claire drove away, Ethan and Sophie sat with their father at the dining table. The trophies on the shelf, the framed pictures of birthdays and concerts, the laughter that still echoed in the home, these were the fruits of their resilience. Claire had left them searching for happiness, but in her absence, they had discovered something far greater. They had discovered strength. They had discovered unity. They had discovered love that did not waver when storms came. Years later, when Ethan walked across the stage to receive a college scholarship for soccer, Michael sat in the front row, tears of joy streaming down his face. When Sophie performed her first piano recital at the city concert hall, she looked out into the crowd and smiled at her father's proud applause. The children thrived, not because their family was perfect, but because their father chose to stay, to love, and to fight for them. Claire's absence became the sharpest reminder of the cost of selfishness. But Michael and the kids? They became living proof of triumph, the triumph of love over betrayal, of presence over absence, of resilience over regret. And though Claire's story ended in loneliness, Michael, Ethan, and Sophie wrote a new one, a story of healing, of victories, of milestones reached hand in hand. A story that proved, when love refuses to give up, nothing is impossible. Triumph Legends is committed to bringing you interesting stories about the power of love, courage, resilience, and triumph over life's setbacks. We appreciate your support. Subscribe and hit the notification bell for more epic stories of triumph to come.